Psycho.
Welcome back to another episode of Your Brain Can't Handle Essay Form content, so here's a numbered list. Plot setup speedrun in under 60 seconds. In the 90s, 5 mean girls bully Susie from Stranger Things into committing Dark Souls, forcing their future children and the audience to deal with the consequences of their actions. Those consequences being the melodrama surrounding a serial murderer dead set on ruining their lives and the lives of their children. Also, Imogen is a pregnant teenager in high school, oh no, but like Degrassi did it better 5 times. Pretty Little Liars Original Sin is a not so directly related sequel series to Pretty Little Liars. Was Original Sin a good show? Not to my own personal understanding of what good is, but that's okay. Maybe your understanding of good is different from mine. Based on my own personal understanding of what good is, the Rotten Tomatoes score seems charitably generous in the way a car mechanic might say, "I'll replace that transmission free of charge, and here's a gift card. You look like you could use some groceries, and you know what? I'll even massage that little butthole of yours on the house. What can I say? You've got a really nice smile." It was inconsequential. It was whatever. It made time pass, except for when it didn't. It was getting a greasy hand job from your spouse who hates you and thinks your body looks like bad milk. Original Sin is a show for nobody. It hates both men and women. It's too diverse and progressive for some audiences and not responsible enough with its themes for others. It's a very performative Christmas, Charlie Brown. South Park engages with its themes in a more mature manner than Original Sin, a cartoon about poop turds and fart cancer. Media like this ends up delving so deep into social justice capitalism that they end up being more misogynistic, homophobic, and racist than the ones with directly offensive jokes, which in a way is both the worst and best thing about this series. In my opinion, it's okay to laugh at serious themes when they're presented with the nuance of a drunk clown performing heart surgery with a chainsaw. So I have that, and you can't take it from me, even though you probably want to. Original Sin is a teenage drama about a serial killer, the great value version of Bagul from Sinister, dressed up like Michael Myers for a grade school Halloween candy exchange. Original Sin is Riverdale without the personality. Original Sin is a show for children written by adults with sex and drugs and violence. It's like Degrassi, but not socially or philosophically competent or good or entertaining, at least not on purpose. Look, I'm sorry, this isn't a critical analysis. I just need you to know my headspace. Okay, now the list. Sorry I cucked you for so long, but sometimes you gotta eat your vegetables or you won't grow up big and tall like your mommy. The top 10 most inappropriate things that somehow made Pretty Little Liars Original Sin Season 1 a bearable watching experience. I haven't had that much in my mouth since the last time I convinced your dad to pay my rent. Ha. Number 1. The plot twists that I made up in my own head that would have been better than the actual plot twists. Skip to point 2 to avoid the spoiler right now. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, we're almost at a spoiler for a really bad show. 1, here we go. It was the principal the whole time, I think. I don't know. I can't be bothered to remember the plot. This was the worst part of the show. There was no build, no shock, no strong emotional impact, just lame dissatisfaction. Like getting a greasy hand job from your spouse who he wasn't even the killer. He just convinced his mentally infirm son to go around on a poorly executed murder spree. Okay, I don't want to be disingenuous. It hardly counted as a spree. It was more so a murder summary. I don't know. I'm doing my best here. There are 1,000 other things they could have done that would have been better than the principal. Make it one of the moms or a real ghost with a hook for a hand. I don't care. What about the lunatic sheriff? It could have been the lunatic sheriff. That would have been real drama. That would have meant he killed his own daughter. What a psycho. How could he do that? Why would he do that? I guess we'll never know. Number 2. Speaking of the lunatic sheriff, father of Karen and Kelly, the resident class bullies, he finds himself firmly on my list and with good reason. Or at least mediocre reason. Not only is he the sheriff of the small town of where in the fuck is this anyway, but I have a theory, due to me admittedly not paying attention as much as I should have if I'm gonna go around calling myself a working member of the press, that he is also the only officer in town. If this was a critical dissection of the series, I would probably know this answer, but it's a goofy tier list that means nothing, and there's no way you're gonna get me to watch this series again. I don't know, maybe my mind is just filtering out all the other officers because they're whack losers who didn't really make an impression, but I'm pretty sure he's the only one. The greatest mysteries happen off screen. You see where I'm going with this? The things that I like the most about this show are the things that are happening inside of my own mind. So the sheriff just shows up everywhere all the time, all at once, like he's Jobu Tupaki. Despite rolling over the town like a creeping fog, he even has enough spare minutes to supervise the community service hours of teenage delinquents where, by the way, he abuses his position to get his dick sucked by twinks on parole, which sounds like an off-Broadway play that makes up for its lack of technical skill and budget with a whole lot of gumption. I mean, if he wanted to toss his glizzy down someone's slurp slide, all he had to do was dress in his stained white tee and offer me a sip of his PBR. I'm not really a picky girl. We don't have to talk about it. But we can! This also, interestingly enough, makes him the token gay character. But he's also a predator. So I guess he's not the token gay, he's just a gay predator. Happy Pride Month whenever you're watching this. This is where social justice gets you, not woke! Though most of the male characters are dumb, abusive predators in this show, except for the trans one. Woke! But also offensive, because he isn't treated like a man in so as far as how the show views men. And let's not forget all the female characters are drug addicts and liars who bully little girls into committing Yoshimitsu. Oh god, is this show gonna turn me into an Andrew Tate? I'm too pretty and funny and charismatic and smart to be an Andrew Tate, and I'm too poor to move to Romania. This show is the reason men and women hate each other. What are we teaching our children about gender dynamics? Oh god, speaking of children, number 3. Mouse pretending to be dead little children. This is exactly what it sounds like. She spends her spare time pretending to be the dead children of men who have lost their daughters. It's her pastime activity of choice. It's her favorite thing. You can't take it away from her, she'll die. And if Mouse dies, who's gonna pretend to be her? It's her only form of entertainment and the only valid reason she can manifest the will to continue living in this cold, dead world we all reluctantly share. I guess if they were going to name a character Mouse, they had to give her some quirky personality trait, but I would have preferred she just made clothes out of construction paper or had the ability to count how many baby pickles were in a jar without opening it. So I don't come off as disingenuous, here's the context. She thinks she's providing her community a service. In her mind, this is heroism. She's also filling the void of her own fatherless home, even though she has 2 moms, which should be good enough. Some of us don't even have one. Ungrateful! Okay, number 4. The blood drive. Doing this from memory alone probably means I'm gonna fuck this up, and I'm sorry ahead of time, but I can't, it's the best you're gonna get. One plot in the show follows Imogen and Tabby's search for the person who sexually assaulted them. In an effort to find out who the culprit is, Imogen and her friends rally together, organize a blood drive, and grease up their grubby little teenage hands to steal hemoglobins like a little vampire Halloween Ocean's 11. It's an incredibly involved plot as far as this show's standards are concerned. They even get one of their moms swept up in the chaos. The mom, by the way, who lost her nursing job because she couldn't stop stealing drugs from the hospital and doing the drugs. The same mom, in fact, who also previously let her daughter take the blame and get arrested for said drugs that she herself was doing. She participates by taking the blood to a quote-unquote friend to be screened, question mark? Sorry if I lost you there. I lost myself too, and I'm never gonna get myself back. The girls don't learn anything really, but it was a whimsical little journey nonetheless. Number 5, reveal of the assaulter. For context, in Degrassi, despite how corny that show may seem, when Claire was assaulted by her boss, I cried, actual tears. So if a show that corny can make me feel something, I need you to know how severely this show mishandled its subject matter. So the aforementioned rapist who assaulted Imogen and Tabby was their wholesome friend Chip the entire time. This twist is so messed up because Chip was both Tabby's best friend and simultaneously giving Imogen support when she went for pregnancy counseling. And if you couldn't guess from the context clues, it was his baby. Obviously unbeknownst to Imogen. Chip is just so adorable in peak chivalrous middle America, radiating Labrador Retriever energy to such a high extent that the juxtaposition alone is its own form of art. Someone more generous than me could argue that the show is illustrating how wolves can wear the skin of sheep, but I don't think that was done on purpose. It was Chip because Chip was the most shocking option. Which could have been a good plot twist and Chip could have been an amazing villain, but the show isn't interested in that. Instead of making him a frightening monster, they tell you he's a frightening monster. This is in part because they want to give Imogen and Tabby a girl boss moment and make a big show of how they're really good liars because they have to reference the title, I guess. But Chip is the real liar here. Chip is the prettiest little liar of them all. Just look at that face! Now, imagine the script retooled with Chip as both the assaulter and the murderer, the son of teenage mother Susie getting brutal revenge for her premature death. They could have called it Pretty Little Liar, singular, and that would have been the door slam at the end of the show. There was only one liar, but the show doesn't care about about subversion. It cares about unearned shock and the pretense of tension. Again, my own ideas are entertaining me more than the show itself. I understand the hubris of what I'm saying, and I accept that as who I am. Anyway, I hate this scene. I hate this plot. I think it's terrible. I think it's poorly done. I think it makes light of the entire situation, but I also like it. I told you, this is not a critical analysis. This is me gurgitating my emotions at you in an arbitrary list. Number 6. Kelly. Number 7. Karen. Number 8. The fact that Karen and Kelly are played by the same genius actress who retroactively deserves an Emmy for carrying this entire show on her back. Now, I understand it might be upsetting that Karen and Kelly have taken up 3 points on my list, but boy, are you gonna be disappointed when you see number 9. Karen and Kelly are twin daughters of the aforementioned sheriff. The twins are racist, audacious, hateful, weirdo bullies. They add all of the actual genuine drama to the show. Original Sin would be a solid 1 out of 10 without them. Luckily, they exist, so it's a 2 out of 10. I don't morally support anything they do, and I reject everything they stand for, but they're comedic geniuses. I love them in the same way I would love a puddle of gasoline. It's objectively bad for you, for the environment, for the world, but if you look at it from the right angle, you see a pretty little rainbow. Number 9. Karen is murdered by Diet Bagul, the fallout of which is truly compelling. There's one specific moment after Karen's death where Farron thinks Karen is cosplaying as Kelly. That Kelly is really the one who died. That Karen is just maintaining the illusion, gaslighting everyone around her. Just a fun little thing to do. When Farron finally accuses Kelly of being Karen, Kelly fucking loses it. She's all, oh, you're a psycho, Farron, and you're a psycho, you're a crazy psycho.
Psycho.
But because she can't let it go, even after public embarrassment, Farron asks her male friend to offer Kelly a foot rub so he can check for Karen's razor blade scar. Kelly says yes. This plot is made even better because Kelly is understandably a little unhinged at this moment in time, wearing her sister's boyfriend and fucking her sister's clothes. But, okay, I got that backwards, but I would watch that story. I think a lot of people would watch that story. You know, I'm only offering improvements here. Number 10. The scoliosis incident. Farron is a young ballerina. She's up for the big starring role in her school's production of Casual Racism the Musical. I don't think that's the actual title, please don't quote me on it. Anyway, Farron, who is black, lets her ballet teacher know that she's planning on going to a very prestigious school. Her ballet teacher is not black, her ballet teacher is white. Her teacher thus responds to these aspirations. Why don't you go to the school for black ballerinas instead? And Farron's like, why? Because I'm black? And her teacher is all, I thought that part was obvious. Then Farron is like, I want to go to the prestigious school. I want to go to the white school. Then the racist teacher is all, well, it would be a real big shame if that school you want to go to so bad found out about your scoliosis. Because if there's one thing ballet schools hate, it's a medical condition. Though this plot never really amounts to much because a scout from the prestigious white school comes and watches Farron perform, and Kelly, comedic genius, shouts out loud after the performance, you know she has scoliosis, right? Spine like a question mark, that one. But the scout, in typical wish fulfillment, inconsequential fashion, is all,
That makes you even more impressive. We love scoliosis and back. Here's our scoliosis best scholarship, our scoliosis queens, and our scoliosis best statement for our queens who have scoliosis. And here's a $50 gift card to Chipotle. We can't let scoliosis go hungry.
that word is completely meaningless now. It's like I got peanut butter stuck on the roof of my mouth. Scully. Oh, sis. As I was saying, before I so rudely interrupted myself, this is the best moment of the entire series because it's so after-school psychotic, but in an understated sort of way. Kind of like a Degrassi episode filmed 3 streets down from a Darren Aronofsky film, but without all the consequences of either. Racism and ableism defeated in a single scene. That's it. Everything else about the series was just boring, so I really didn't have anything else to talk about. Subscribe, please. I need the validation, and like my video, and comment, and I mean, you can tell me how wrong I am, but I don't think I'm wrong, but I really appreciate you saying something anyway. I love you. Bye. Mwah. Never undercome, only overcome. Shoot high, expect to miss. Bonus content go. The real issue here is that everything Original Sin tries to do, Scream Queens did much better a decade ago. More iconic killer, better reveals, better writing, better cinematography, funnier jokes, actual comedy, unlike Original Sin's cringe referential writing that does its darndest to cosplay as Buffy one-liners. Mean Girls responsible for the death of a friend and it comes back to haunt them trope. And the cast? Kiki Palmer, Jamie Lee Curtis, Emma Roberts, Abigail Breslin, Niecy Nash, Nick Jonas, Glenn Powell, Air E, Anna Grande? Next!
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're gonna love it. Do it. Oh, it's gonna be so good. Do it. So good.
Well, it's time. I'm subscribing.
Excellent.